right name, Noah Greenhill, ahead of tomorrow's World Cup final, and clearly we know who you're supporting.
That's right, Alex.
Yeah, it should be an interesting game. Do you think that if the Springboks win tomorrow, that it might give the JSE a bit of a lift next week?
I think so. I mean, I think all of these things add to the buoyancy and enthusiasm about South Africa and about the markets and about the companies. Can't lose.
What happened after 95? Do you remember?
Sure, I don't. But certainly, if I remember correctly, 95 was kind of the start of the bull market or the resurrection of the market. So maybe the 95 winning of the World Cup was a catalyst.
Well, it certainly had a feel-good factor.
Absolutely.
And, hopefully, if there's another feel-good factor here, we might see yet another uplift. But that was a time that people are now starting to look back on, given the huge success that we've seen with Altex, saying 95 was good, 96 was better for what was then the venture capital and development capital market, and then there was a big blow-off coming in 1998. Some are saying that Altex is heading the same way.
I think it's unfair, Alec. I think the listing requirements are different. The philosophy of the JSE is different. I think the nature, size and quality of the companies that are coming to market at the moment is dramatically different. I think the macro-political, macroeconomic situation is different. You know, we can make these analogies, we can make these comparisons. But that's like saying the price of milk in 95 and the price of milk today. Is there a comparison between the two?
Well, you don't invest in milk.
No, absolutely.
And you don't
consume it.
You don't have sales at the golf club to buy milk.
No, of course. But I'm saying, you know, it's just totally different times.
But Altex itself, 2003, when you launched it, was right at the bottom of the JSE. If you look back now, in fact, there was a Sunday Times headline on Mother's Day in 2003, which I think was in April, that almost signals, and often it does in the mass media, when the media is calling the end of shares as we know it, or the end of shares as an investment opportunity, that's just about the right time to buy. By the same token, when the media generally is saying this is the time when you should be investing in shares, it might be a good time to sell.
Although, Alec, remember, 6 years ago, the index was sitting at, what, 7,000 points? I could pull the press coverage when the index hit 10,000 points. I could pull that same press coverage and just look at the article, change the numbers at 15,000, at 20,000, at 25, at 30. You know, the one thing that worries me as South Africans, which we're really good at, is talking ourselves down. You know, instead of saying, hey guys, it's good. Look at the market. Look at the GDP growth. Look at the infrastructure spend. Look at World Cup 2010. Look at Gautrain.
There are many good, Chase Brookerman's book, if you really want to get into that, Pace of Change, I think it's called, where why he's been consistently right in the most recent time, is because he went and did his homework and said that things are on a different plateau now to where they were under apartheid.
Absolutely.
And perhaps that's now being translated into what we're seeing on the stock market.
I certainly concur with that.
What about these companies that are coming to Altex and being listed? We spoke yesterday with the chief executive, Charles Harrod, of Racetech. 51-year-old business. It's not some company that had been tapped together and was well treated by the JSE.
And that's exactly my point. Look at the nature of the companies. Alex, the one caveat that we have to make is that Altex is not perfect. We are going to have failures. Companies are going to fail on Altex. It's the nature of the game. Companies out there fail all the time. So do your investment analysis carefully.
But isn't there a danger now that Altex has been successful, 64 listings, average return, our researcher Monique Vanek said from day of listing till yesterday is 135%. So if you bought an Altex, any Altex company, you'd think you'd be in front. But isn't there a danger now, because it's been so successful, that you're going to be sucking in such a volume of new listings that some baddies are going to sneak through?
Of course, there will be baddies that sneak through. But we are still pedantic in our Altex Advisory Committee process as to the companies that come through. And we're still saying to companies, guys, you know, we're not sure if you're appropriate for a listing today. We'd rather you come back in a year's time. And I'd rather be wrong in a year's time and have to take out a full-page ad in some publication somewhere to say, look, we're sorry, this company should have listed a year ago, it didn't, it's done everything it said it would do, we're terribly sorry they're going to list today. Rather than list the company, falls over, and then we give fund managers, the media, and everyone else an excuse to point fingers at Altex and say, ooh, look at the rubbish that you're listing.
In 2003, you were trying to get new listings on the market. Today, are you turning a lot away?
Alex, the guys that we turn away, probably around 30%. It is skewed a little bit, because a predominant number of those were at the beginning of Altex, when I think a couple of the advisors were testing the system. So it's much less today, but this year alone, I'd venture a guess that at least 4 or 5 companies have been turned away or have been given certain criteria or conditions that they have to meet before they can apply to list.
What changed things? You struggled in 2003 and in 2004, and then it seemed, certainly the last 24 months, that Altex has just taken off.
The sales cycle for Altex is at least 18 months to 3 years. Takes time. The guys, there's those guys that want to see what the other guys do. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the guys are saying, all right, they did it, let's watch them for 6 months. We'll see what happens. Let's talk to our auditors, let's talk to our attorneys, let's talk to our advisors, let's see what the benefits are.
Isn't there a time, though, that you want to bump companies off Altex? And I ask that because 5 of them are actually worth more than R1 billion. It's hardly a young, developing business.
No. Look, we're looking at it, but it's a product segmentation strategy for the JSE. If the company's needs are being met on Altex, who are we to say, guys, I'm sorry, you'll be better served on the main board?
So you're not going to go to market cap and say, once you exceed that level, you must leave it?
It really is a company decision as to whether or not their needs would be better served on the main board for whatever reason.
Very attractive to entrepreneurs in that you can make acquisitions up to 50% of your market cap without having to issue circulars.
Absolutely.
But I guess the corollary of that would be some shareholders would say, but I want to know.
Of course. And if you do want to know, then, there's 340 main board companies that will serve your needs in wanting to know as and when a company is going to do a transaction, and understanding that the cost of that transaction might be earnings dilutory. So, there are a whole lot of factors that you've got to put into it.
Now, does Altex contribute to the parent company, to the JSE, in a profit basis?
It does, but it is not separated out. So Altex is not a separate line item in the income statement in terms of either revenue or costs. And at this moment in time, probably in both instances, it's relatively insignificant.
Is there an intention that it would grow exponentially from here so that it will boost the JSE Limited?
Certainly that's the intention.
And one of the opportunities, I guess, would be internationally, where a lot of foreign companies or companies listed on other foreign stock exchanges, but they are operating in Africa. Have you done a research on that?
Well, if you look at AIM in the UK, must be at least 40 plus companies that have got operations in Africa that are listed on AIM. TSX must be at least 40 or 50 companies, operations in Africa only listed on the TSX, and about 30 companies on the Australian exchange. We're looking and have made it particularly attractive and particularly easy for those companies to dual list on Altex specifically, and the main board of the JSE a little bit more difficult.
But so far you've only got 3.
Only 3?
Is there an 18-month cycle again that you've got to go through?
Absolutely. In fact, it's probably a little bit longer. You don't make these decisions at one board meeting. It takes time, a lot of analysis. But the interesting thing that we have seen in the guys that have dual listed AIM Altex is that South Africa is the price maker, London is the price taker, and the liquidity is in South Africa rather than in London.
That's interesting. So there's greater turnover in the shares that are listed here and in London's AIM market than there would be in London.
Absolutely.
By a
quantum.
By a quantum? Mm-hmm.
By a reason, at least 10.
Why would that be?
Well, I think we understand mining. I think we understand resources. I think we understand South Africa and Africa.
So exactly your appetite, mainly mining and resources.
At this moment in time, certainly from a dual listing point of view, yes. Obviously, the challenge is to find those African companies to list or dual list in South Africa. But that's a much bigger project.
And there's exchange control issues that come into it. Just finally, a lot of people would love to be able to participate in Altex listings before they come to the market. Isn't there a better way than letting some stockbrokers give it to their favorite clients?
Alec, again, huge challenge for us. I mean, I cannot tell you how many emails I get on a daily basis where guys say to us, we'd like to see the list of companies coming to list. But understand that those companies are not under our jurisdiction until the day they list.
Well, maybe we should innovate there, and I'm sure between the JSE and some other innovative people, we might find a way to allow smaller shareholders to participate. This has been the last Power Lunch before the World Cup final. Let's hope that we have a happy Power Lunch on Monday. I'll be back again with you, and it doesn't matter, win or lose, I'll still be wearing a smile. It's now time to go across